Okay, viewers, MikeMoneyGMR here, and I found what I was looking for. This is the stamp generator, as you can tell. Um, the sound effects for this is really annoying. Like, even more annoying than that last game. And there's no fill option or anything, so you have to use this pencil to do all of it. And there's no size change either. You have to just fill in the dots as if you were kind of filling the grid like before. And of course my throat would start acting up now. But yeah, you can just fill this up with anything you want, and it'll start acting up over there. Same thing goes with the other game. You can only save one type of stamp. Not like how you can save only one picture. You can only save one type of stamp. So the thing you should take from this is, if you decide that you want to play with stamps, just know that you can only make one. So kind of let your artistic nature flow, and then kind of go from there. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, like, what's funny about this room is I always thought it was like an icebox type thing to make the stamp. That's why I always thought it was so funny. Just like whenever I saw this, I'd be like, so it's an icebox. But there's your stamp. But yeah. So that's all I needed to show you was that. And basically, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about this game. Fun in Games, like I said, was a game that me and my brother used to play for hours on end and not really make anything great. We would just kind of play with the stamps more than we would actually draw stuff, Like, we would use the animations, like the animated stuff, to make cool stuff like that. Like, we would make a cop car shooting across the screen, then blowing up. We would, it's not really like animated, but you know what I mean. We would draw stuff as good as we could, but, as a kid with a limited patience, you couldn't really draw much. The coloring books, they were always fun to mess with. And yeah, I think I'm starting to get tired because I've been up for so long. Let's see, what else would we do? We would also kind of make music that we could, if we really could, but we'd get bored with that real fast. Yeah, that's basically it. We were just mainly playing the arcade on this, but we thought it died, and it actually barely fits into the Sega Genesis console thing I have, like I had to shove it in there and it works, thankfully, but it's actually starting to get rusty and stuff, so I'm surprised it actually still works. But yeah, this is the game I was talking about that I thought died, and it still works and it still does what I want it to do, so that's great. But for a game, if I had to recommend it, I would say it is nice to play for a while, but it grows on you real fast. Like, it kind of loses its touch after a good 30 minutes. Especially unless you're like a really hardcore artistic person. And if you are, then yeah, it could be better at that point. Like, it could be a fun thing to do if you have an old Sega Genesis that still works. You could play this and just kind of play around with it and kind of compare it to what we have now and see if it's better or worse. Damn it. Ugh. Of course, I'm assuming that's probably going to be worse, but can't win them all, right? But I mean, for a game that was competing with Mario Paint, to me, it did not compete. Mario Paint, to me, still held a special place in my heart compared to this, but this had more to it and was interesting in that regard. I mean, you don't even see painting games anymore on systems. You don't see them on the Wii U. You don't see them on the Wii itself. You never saw them on the GameCube, as far as I know. The only games that you have that did this are these. And probably the reason why is because, they just weren't as popular as they were, like, they just weren't really that popular. I mean, just for fun's sake, let's take a review for this. Okay, according to GameFAQs, it was given a 3 out of 5 by someone on here. Of course, it was given an easy difficulty. Length of hours that you can kind of dedicate to it says is only an hour, which is interesting. And let's see, what else does the review say? Yes, he gave it a 6 out of 10. He didn't actually say what he liked about it or anything like that. But it was released in 1993. It was also on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I never knew that. Let's see. Can we find anything else? I guess we can go to Wikipedia for a fun little thing about it too, just to make this video longer. Okay, fun in games, sometimes spelled, fun in games with a capital N instead of lowercase n as I typed it, is a compilation video game developed by Leland Interactive Media and released for the Super NES and Sega Genesis Mega Drive platforms in 1993 and 1994. A game with the same name was released in 1995 for the 3DO, but it differs slightly in gameplay and was developed by Williams Entertainment Incorporated. The North American Super NES version of the game is considered to be one of the more rare games released for the console. Now, anyway, as it goes on, Fun and Games is a compilation of puzzles, arcade games, and a music composer and a paint program in one video game. The game is arranged into 4 different types of activities or categories, and there is virtually no difference in gameplay between the Super NES and Genesis Mega Drive versions. However, the Genesis version, not the Mega Drive version, has an extra game in the game selection. Parts of the game is controlled in a computer mouse-like fashion, although the Super NES version is playable with the Super NES controller. The game can also be played with the SNES mouse. Similarly, the Sega mouse can be used instead of the regular controller. So there was a Sega mouse. The games... the Whack-A-Clown game was only exclusive to the Sega Genesis version, so if you had the Mega Drive or the SNES version, you did not get that game. Hammer is controlled, of course. You got the Space Laser game and the Mouse Maze. Let's see, was there anything different in the music? No, the music was was the same. Super NES version of Fun and Games was reviewed in 1994 in both Nintendo Power and GamePro. It was praised for its variety, creativity, music, and graphics, but the activities were considered simple and too restricting for more advanced and/or older players. Regarding the arcade-style games, the reviewers found them too shallow and not challenging enough to entertain players for any longer amount of time. Also, the Nintendo Power reviewer argued that this SNES mouse was a better alternative for playing the game than the Super NES controller. That's interesting because to me it really wasn't. Like, if I had to say which I would rather use, I'd rather use that controller. But that's me. According to this review score, Electric Gaming Monthly gave it a 6.2 out of 10. GamePro gave it a 2.25 out of 5. That was the SNES version. Nintendo Power gave the SNES version 3.5 out of 5. And Mean Machine Sega gave it a 28 out of 100. And that was the Mega Drive version. So it definitely did not get very, like, amazing, what do you call it, scores. Let's see, I wonder if we can also find out how many sold. Doesn't really say. But yeah, that's that. That's pretty much all I can tell you about the game. And I know I've just been sitting here doing nothing. I'm sorry. I know you guys probably hate it when I do that. That's basically the line tool, of course. But yeah, that's everything. And since I'm definitely getting bored, I'm going to go ahead and stop. And because I'm sure you guys are too. And like I said, we dedicated, what is it, like right now, a total of 40 minutes to this. Yeah, I split them up, of course, but like, that's basically all I have patience for now since I'm older. But when I was a kid, this game I could probably play for hours to 2 hours. And I'd mainly be playing arcade and the painting. But, it just does not really hold much attention. But would I say it's a fun game? Would I say it's a fun game, one worth playing? I would have to disagree with the reviewers and say it is kind of fun. But you're gonna have a hard time finding a copy of it. Because I looked in the stores for it just for fun. And I saw a couple. But they seem to kind of set there. So it may or may not be, depends on where you go. And chances are, if you do decide to pick it up, know that it may not work as well as it probably did in the back then. And you'd also have to buy a Sega Genesis from either a Sam's Club or something like that, because that's where my dad picked up mine. So you'd have to give that a shot and hope that you can find one. But that's that. So when I return for more videos, we'll probably come back to our regular schedule thing unless I find my Xbox plugin. But the only reason why I'm not looking for it now is because everyone's asleep and I don't want to make any noise. But I'm pretty sure I know where it is now, so I'm gonna go hunt it down, bring it up here. I think it's downstairs somewhere. And then I'm going to show off another game for the Xbox before I return to our regular scheduled stuff. But look forward to that, and look forward to my future videos. Till then, everyone.